levels and alert the citizenry.
We contacted the mayor of Port Aransas, and in the Corpus Christi Caller-Times, he was also quoted as saying he was not warned of the impending raid. It can be termed nothing less than actual terrorism against the American people. By definition, terrorism seeks a political aim by scaring a population or a group of people. It's plain for all thinking people to see. America is in the process of a radical change, and I'm afraid to say it's not for the better. Alice, Texas was next on the list for Delta Force training, and one of my listeners on my radio program dropped by and talked to the police chief of Alice, Jack D. Compton, and what he found out was interesting. A very key piece of information came out. Foreign troops were involved in at least the Alice operation. You see, Jack D. Compton's comments didn't make much sense until about a month after Operation Last Dance, when Anniston, Alabama got a visitation by 800 Rangers accompanied by Russians. You'll find out later they actually turned the power off to part of the city because they felt like it. But let's go ahead and talk to the chief. Then we'll go and show you where Delta engaged in some of its training, literally 100 feet from a backyard where children were at play.
You know, they need these trainings so specialized, and what exactly the qualifications are that they need to train so much.
In the event of any terrorist activity, these are going to be the men that address it. And they need to keep their skills honed to razor's edge. They have to. And they don't have time, the luxury of time to plan an operation and go in. Can't plan it forever. You've got to make a move and make it fast. And so time is of the essence, and having their skills up to a high level is very important. But these are the people that you're going to call on for any terrorist activities.
But who are the terrorists? It's certainly not Bill Clinton giving all of our nuclear weapons designs and enabling systems to the Chi-Coms. No. It's people like the Davidians or Randy and Vicki Weaver at Ruby Ridge, Idaho. Yeah, we're the terrorists. We're the danger. We're the threat because we won't submit to total domination, total control, total slavery. Waco is a sterling example of this, the lies and corruption that were evidenced during their activities. Oh, but I forgot. We had to save the children. That's why we burned the 17 little children to death. Again, to save them from the terrorist, the deadly, dangerous terrorist, their parents.
Can you tell us some of the, not necessarily some of the specifics, but some just certain reasons why they need these trainings so specialized, and what exactly the qualifications are that they need to train so much?
In the event of any terrorist activity, these are going to be the men that address it. And they need to keep their skills honed to razor's edge. They have to. And they don't have time, the luxury of time to plan an operation and go in. Can't plan it forever. They've got to make a move and make it fast. And so time is of the essence, and having their skills up to a high level is very important. But these are the people that you're going to call on for any terrorist activities.
Well, yes, these are the people we're going to call on for terrorist activities. Delta Force, BATF, FBI, hostage rescue teams. They're training on military bases as we speak, ladies and gentlemen. They trained back in '93 before the assault on the Waco church. That's right, it's not a compound. We need to get our priorities straight in this country and worry about our real national security risk, the real threats to our nation, like Bill Clinton, and the already forming global government that controls him. That's the crisis. That's the threat. Not our nation's people. Not American. Speaking of global government, let's go back and hear from Chief of Police in Alice, Texas, Jack D. Compton. As he admits, foreign troops were on the ground during the training mission in Alice, Texas, during the terror mission in Alice, Texas. Make no mistake, that's what it's about. Again, training police, training the general public, training the military that working together for national security is a wonderful thing. I'm here to tell you, historically speaking, it is nothing less than a nightmare. Governments are the most dangerous creations on earth that are man-made. We've also learned that citizens in Alice were told that if they came outside their yards during the training exercise, they'd be taken to jail. I mean, this is getting more and more insane. The Bill of Rights is being flushed down the tubes.
This government is training other so-called friendly countries, or?
They are training friendly countries, and I'm not at liberty to give you their names, but I know that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
they were there in Alice, or a couple weeks ago.
There was some present, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't involved in the training itself. They were there on the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just heard it. A police chief in a South Texas town, Jack D. Compton, saying that he's not at liberty to discuss information engaged in supposed national security operations. What a convenient umbrella for the unfolding police state. But there's one problem with that whole argument. Why are foreign troops in almost all of these exercises, according to my sources? Why are they allowed to see all this secret activity? But the American people, in many cases, aren't even warned in the name of national security, because people like Walter Zulskowski, spokesperson for Army Special Operations at Fort Bragg, has stated many times in many publications that, well, we can't let the public know because we have to protect our tactics. Oh, I see. The foreign troops aren't your enemy. You just got to protect your tactics from your enemy, and that's obviously the American people.
Can you describe how many, and describe also the helicopters that were there?
Well, the helicopters were Blackhawks, and they came in blacked out. We didn't see them except for the skylight, and they were completely dark. And some of the Delta Force people rappelled down the ropes to the helicopter. I mean, from the helicopter to the top of the building. Some landed there on the ground in the parking lot of this building.
Was there any that hovered like above the building, and if so, how high?
Only long enough. Oh, they was probably around 75 to 100 feet, but they came down on ropes, and so once they had ejected, the helicopters left and came back in a few minutes and picked them up. Mm-hmm. So they didn't go back up the ropes; they were picked up helicopters on the ground. The noise level was not excessive, because when you inside that brick building, the noises were muffled. You didn't hear a great deal, and the loudest noises didn't come from explosives. They came from what we call flashbangs. That's a distraction device that makes an excessive noise and a very bright flash. The charges they use to breach doors are just enough to breach the door.
They were just coming and dropping off people and bombing and shooting their guns, and that's it.
They had guns?
Yeah, they're just practicing.
Like,
they had closed up all the roads and everything.
Mm-hmm. Did you see any men? And what kind of uniforms they had on?
Nah, they didn't let us get out of our gates, because if we did, they said we'll be arrested.
Did you see the Alice Police Department there?
Yeah, they had all the roads blocked.
So they were like working together?
Yeah, they were, and the sheriff
was there?
And the sheriff.
The J.E. Poultry Company, an abandoned poultry plant, was the site of Delta Force training in Alice, Texas, literally smack dab in the middle of a residential area, as I said, where children were at play. You know, I wish I could say that these operations were just a blunder, a irresponsible activity on part of the Department of Defense. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's clear it's being done on purpose. And don't forget Gracie. She lives in Casa Ricarda, a retirement home that was right across the street from the detectives building, the old detectives building in Kingsville. Old folks' homes, residential areas, all part of training the American people and police to accept visitations by black helicopters bearing armed men in black ski masks with automatic weapons. Again, Americans are being designated as the new threat. Not the Chicom's, not the Russians, not the socialists that are running this nation. They've taken over, my friends. Unfortunately, the strange military activities are not localized only in Texas. They're happening all across the nation and with increased frequency. Literally hundreds of so-called training missions terrorizing the public. You heard the police chief of Alice, Texas, tell us that, well, there were some foreign troops, but I can't talk about it. Well, the sheriff, Larry Amershon, sure talked about it from Anniston, Alabama. He wasn't told that 800 Rangers with a contingent of Russian troops were going to be visiting the Anniston Municipal Airport. They didn't even warn the public when they turned the power off, not by accident, but on purpose.